Okay, so next question comes from Isabella Bertelli. Also, do you think that this show is going to reignite the Camilla Charles hate? Because everyone was sort of cool with them for a while, but every reaction I see for season 4 is people talking crap about them again. Yeah. I feel like it will, and I feel like it has. In the days since season 4 was released, I think I saw some videos of people who work for the royal family, or even like people within the royal family, trying to do some damage control. I think for a certain generation of people who actually experienced all of this in real time, there is a lot of hatred and negativity towards Charles and Camilla. Now with The Crown 2 covering their story, and a whole generation of people who weren't alive to experience it in real time, now they're learning about it, they're gonna feel a certain kind of way. And that leads perfectly to my next question, which comes, oh, you didn't say where you're from. But this is Aaron Busby. He says, Steffi, you said your mom hated Camilla. How do you feel this season would influence your mom's general opinion of Camilla and other people who have carried hatred for her? I would say, to be short and brief, I think it would just make people hate her even more. Next question comes from Brazil.
Hi, my name is Leonardo and I'm from the state of Mato Grosso in Brazil. Insert your joke about Carmen Miranda here. So, I'm not a long-time subscriber. I found your channel when I was looking for reviews about the 4th season of The Crown. And frankly, I loved your videos and comments. You are amazing and you are helping me to train my English, so thank you very much. Ou muito obrigado em português.
Wow, that's really, really cool. Yeah, that's amazing. The fact that these videos are helping you in any way learn English and better your English, I think is incredible. I think your English sounds great, Leonardo. I'll say that.
The season makes several mentions of hunting. What would be your theory about that? Are they referring only to Lady, or are other members of the royal family also being hunted? Sorry for the part of royal. My English is not very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I definitely don't think the references to hunting only have to do with Diana. I think you can make the argument that it's the entire royal family. And actually, there were some comments from the Balmoral episode when Diana caught the stag that actually wasn't representative of Diana. That was actually referencing Charles. So yeah, I think the theory of hunting not only having to do with Diana, but all of the royal family members in some way being hunted, specifically hunted by the media, is definitely right on point. So I would agree with that. Okay, so the next question comes from Guillermo from Honduras.
Oh dear, how are you? Okay, now that I got my fake British accent out of the way, my question will be, now I love the show, I think it's great, love it, but I feel, and I don't know if I'm the only one in this camp, but I feel the writing of the show has become less subtle compared to season 1 and 2, like in an attempt to sort of reflect on previous seasons. I think Peter Morgan has sort of shifted a little bit in his style of writing. Take, for example, season 3, episode 6, when the Queen is almost like saying the same speech that Queen Mary wrote to her in season 1 about, you know, the duty and all that. Or season 4, episode 1, when Philip says to Dickie, like, oh, you told Charles to sow his wild oats. But in season 3, when Dickie said that to Charles, Philip wasn't in the scene. So again, I think the show's still great. Acting-wise, the show's great. But I do kind of feel that, so I would love to know your thoughts about that. Okay, bye.
I actually don't mind when certain speeches or certain ideas that we heard in seasons 1 and 2 are then brought up again in seasons 3 and 4. Because to me, those ideas that are then brought up again in seasons 3 and 4, like those are reoccurring themes throughout the series, and I think that plays into the beauty of the format of The Crown. So that doesn't particularly bother me. But in terms of like subtlety, like I definitely feel like maybe with this particular season, Peter Morgan's a little bit like more on the nose. Like, I mean, I'm thinking of moments where Camilla and Diana, they have lunch at this restaurant called Menage a Trois, which I think some people had left comments that that's actually like a real restaurant. That's not necessarily subtle, because just look up what Menage a Trois means. Also, like in that same episode when they showed Diana was learning how to give a speech and she was using her hands a lot, and then her grandma was like, no, I'm gonna tie your hands behind your back. Like, that's not necessarily like subtle either, because it's like, oh, I see what you're doing there. So I guess in a way, I think maybe season 1 and season 2 was a little bit more subtle than perhaps this particular season was. I feel like season 4 was very dramatic, but it doesn't bother me, and I feel like it doesn't bother you too. You still like watching the show, and the performances are still amazing. So next question is from India. Ooh, I'm gonna butcher this. I'm so sorry. It's Adva A.K. Ananda Krishna. His question regards the score. So he said, I would love to hear your thoughts on the background score this season. I personally was not impressed with season 3's Not Since Martin Phillips, who replaced Rupert Gregson Williams. Didn't do a good job or anything, but I felt season 3 got an excessively dark score, which felt justified only in the Aberfan episode, and in the rest of the episodes, I felt the plot didn't deserve such an elaborate score. But dear God, Phillips' variation of the background score from season 3 and new scores he composed this season felt very much appropriate in season 4, given the whole underlying dark theme this season. Yeah, I'm like totally there with you. I think the score for season 4 was so good. I'm pretty sure I had moments throughout my videos where I would say like, oh man, the score, I really like it. They also did something a little different with the score as well, and I thought it was something specific to just Diana, but you would also hear it with different characters. It kind of had like this dreamlike minstrel quality, but then there was also like the score that had this like underlying sense of dread and doom is coming. But I really liked it. I thought the score this season was so good and really appropriate to the tone of the season. Next question comes from the Philippines.
Hey Steffi, this is Paulo from the Philippines. Really loved your The Crown Series 4 reaction series, and it was a great hangover cure for what I consider to be one of the most intense season of the series thus far. And on a side note, I just really enjoy watching your channel. It was through your channel that I found Fleabag, which I also enjoyed. So thanks for putting up all these like reaction videos and keeping us updated and in your neck of pop culture, I would say. And to my question is, what are your thoughts on the role of media as, I would say, like sort of an unspoken character in the series, but I think still a very powerful one. And it's sort of changed over season 1 through 4, and sort of how involved they become. And obviously when you get to season 5 and 6, there's the element of the internet and social media. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts are on this character, I would consider, and how it sort of shapes the narrative. Yep, so thanks so much, Steffi, for the reaction series, and looking forward to I guess like season 5 and 6 as well, and maybe other series that would be interesting to watch. Cheers.
That was one of my favorite questions that I got. Yeah, wow, you're so on point. Definitely, I feel like the lens and the evolution of what that looks like has been something established from the very beginning, from season 1. The other day I was actually on YouTube watching some old clips of The Crown from season 1 and season 2, and there was this episode where Elizabeth and Philip are arguing. Their argument kind of leads them to go outside, and I think Elizabeth like starts throwing something at Philip, and then they look up and they see that there's like, media staked outside of their home. That is a large part of the story, is not just seeing the privilege that comes with being part of the royal family, but also the cons and the responsibility and the pressure. The media plays a huge part in that. If you notice, with each new season, not only does the way in which media looks, obviously, like from the big camera in the 60s and now like in the 80s, there's like cameras and there's video, and not only is there like a couple of them, but now there's like flocks of them. It's like the intensity of the media has evolved with each new season. I think that's intentional on the show's part, because they're trying to show the way in which media has affected the lives of the royal family members, and that's obviously going to come to a head at some point next season. The media, the paparazzi, they were in that car chasing Diana through that tunnel in Paris. I think actually when Princess Diana died, George Clooney had made a little speech about the media and how they really need to like chill, for lack of a better word, because they're so intrusive and invasive to the point where it literally got someone killed.
Princess Di is dead. And who should we see about that? The driver of the car, the paparazzis, or the magazines and papers who purchase these pictures and make bounty hunters out of photographers?
The media being an unspoken character of the show is so spot on, and just witnessing the evolution of how that looks like and how it intensifies with every new season, every new generation is something that The Crown does really, really well. Okay, next question comes from Germany.
Hello, my name is Helena and I'm from Germany, and I wanted to ask a question for The Crown. And my question is regarding the actors, because I saw a lot online that people were complaining about Helena Bonham Carter as Princess Margaret and Emma Corrin as Princess Diana, and that they don't really look a lot like the actual people looked back in the day. And my question now is whether you agree with that, and also kind of jumping off of that, if you think it's more important that the people look exactly like the people they are portraying, or if you think it's more important that they can act a certain way and portray them the right way.
Wow, another really, really great question. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Emma Corrin doesn't look like Diana. Then again, I'm not someone who is like a diehard Diana stan, but I think Emma Corrin pulled off looking like Diana, and I think that wig also really helped her too. Now for Helena Bonham Carter, I haven't really looked too much at pictures of Princess Margaret, but I will say when her casting was announced for Princess Margaret, I was more so a bit hesitant, not because she didn't look like Princess Margaret, but more so because she didn't look like Vanessa Kirby. Like, it was hard for me to believe that Vanessa Kirby would then grow old and look like Helena Bonham Carter. So I kind of get it with the Helena Bonham Carter, but for both of them, regardless, like it didn't really bother me. But to your next question, is it more important that the people look exactly like the people they are portraying, or is it more important that they can act a certain way and portray them in the right way? I feel like there has to be a delicate balance between the two. Obviously, you want to cast someone who has a resemblance to the person that they're portraying. Like, I think that needs to be high on the consideration list. But at the same time, too, if you don't cast someone who looks 100% like the person, I think it has to be because that person that you're casting is a really, really good actor or actress. Like, I mean, you could make the case like Josh O'Connor, does he really look that much like Prince Charles? I think like they were doing a great service to Prince Charles by casting someone like Josh O'Connor to play him. But at the same time, Josh O'Connor did so good playing Prince Charles. So I feel like there has to be a delicate balance between the two. I think for me, it's more important that they can act, but at the same time, that actor within reason has to have some sort of believable resemblance to the person that they're portraying. Like, it's no good if you cast someone who looks like the spitting image of the person, but then they can't actually act. Then that's like, ugh, like then your story is really gonna suffer. So next question comes from the UK.
Hi Steffi, I know this is past the deadline, but I still have a question, so I don't know if it would be entered or not. But my question is, do you think Elizabeth Debicki is too tall to play Princess Diana? And also, just like, what did you think of the performances this season in general? Like in particular, Emma Corrin's portrayal of Princess Diana. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. And when I said portrayals in general, what I meant was like, how do you think the performances in season 3 and 4 compared to the performances of the same characters in season 1 and 2? So like the Queen Mother, the Queen, you know, just all of the royal family, the main ones anyway. Okay, thanks so much, bye.
While I was listening to your question, I googled how tall Elizabeth Debicki is, and she is apparently 6'2", which, wow, and Diana was 5'10". It personally doesn't bother me. I mean, they're both tall, so I think also maybe the striking height of Elizabeth Debicki won't be as noticeable depending on who you have cast for Charles. Like, if there is a striking height difference between Elizabeth Debicki and the actor playing Charles in comparison to the height difference between real Diana and real Charles, then it might be like, ooh, this is, I don't know about that. So it really depends. I do know that they already cast Charles. Yeah, so Charles is going to be played by Dominic West. Okay, Dominic West is 6 feet tall. How tall, what is Prince Charles? 5'10". Well, I guess Diana will be wearing flats in season 5. I don't know. I think they can get away with it. I think they can get away with it. But in terms of your second question, you're actually not the only person who asked me that. Daniel Smith from London, England kind of had a similar question. Do I prefer Claire and Matt over Elizabeth and Philip? And so did another person. He's not giving me his name. He said, dude from Portugal wanted to know a similar thing. For me, I feel like as great as Olivia Colman and Tobias Menzies are as Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, I think I prefer Claire Foy and Matt Smith, and I would say the same for preferring Vanessa Kirby over Helena Bonham Carter. And, you know, as far as the Queen Mother too, it's so interesting because I feel like they wrote Queen Mother in season 1 and 2, like she felt like a real grounded character, whereas like come season 3 and season 4, she felt like just this illogical villain in the show at times. There were sometimes she would say things where you're like, really? But in any case, I think it's just because I have such a soft spot in my heart for that first cast, because I mean, like, that's the cast that made you love the show. And Claire Foy and Matt Smith were so good, and like they had so much chemistry. Not to say that like Olivia Colman and Tobias Menzies were not good, but Claire Foy and Matt Smith, they were like really good. And additionally too, I feel like the stories that they wrote for young Queen Elizabeth, young Prince Philip, and young Princess Margaret, the stories just felt a bit more compelling to me than what they were given come season 3 and season 4. As the show has worn on, we're seeing less of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip and Princess Margaret because the Queen's kids, they're growing up too, and now they're adults and they have their own sets of dramas and chaos and problems. So, long-winded way of answering, I think with those specific characters, I preferred the season 1 and 2 over the season 3 and 4.